Hello, I'm David Waumsley, and first, apologies for the clickbait title. I hope as I go through this video you'll see why I wanted to draw attention to this particular add-on or plugin, which on the surface isn't the most earth-shattering thing out there, and in fact it's only a test plugin at the moment on GitHub. It is built by the Beaver Builder team, in fact by Justin Buser, the lead developer for Beaver Builder, called BB Code Settings. This is something you'll probably not get updates on, but it is a very simple plugin. What it does is it adds to our advanced tab on our rows, columns and modules CSS and JavaScript settings. So it's working in similar way to our page template layouts where we got CSS, JavaScript. So you can go in there and you can work on your CSS and it's going to live update. You're going to be colored with the code so it's easy to read. It's going to auto complete. It's going to show you suggestions and errors along the way. So it's kind of nice to work with if you're used to CSS, and anybody who needs to add some CSS might find this easier because you won't necessarily need to add in your own selector for a certain area because it's going to pick up automatically on the auto-generated node that goes with each of those sections. But the real reason I'm very excited about it and requested this is due to the work that I'm doing, and I'll cover this in better detail on other videos for those who want to know about it. But beyond that, I can see that this could be potentially a way forward for our community. Those of us who are quite passionate about having a very stable and lightweight core with Beaver Builder, but we still want to add some extra whiz bang once in a while, some effects, and we also want to see how we can do our work quicker. This might be a way forward without necessarily bloating out Beaver Builder and wrecking it for the future. So anyway, let me tell you about what I'm trying to do. So what I wanted to do was to replace the Beaver Builder templates with my own using the same method that they do. So the templates that we see carry all of the images through when we load them up because they're stored on a site that they have, and they issue them out through the DAT file to all of our sites. So I wanted to do exactly the same, and there's another great plugin out there which I'll talk about that's allowed me to do that. So now I have my own template section. I've unset the Beaver Builder one so it goes straight into mine. And what I wanted to do with my templates is different to most of them. I didn't want them to adopt the themes styling. I wanted them to stand as they are wherever I place them and ignore the theme, overwrite that CSS. So that's what I've done with this. Let me just go into the CSS. I know it's not organized in the way that I've got it at the moment here, but what I've tried to do is to come up with a standard format for all of the pages, and on my newer versions I've got better notes with it. And it's going to work effectively as a crib sheet for me. So I can move in a template to any setup, any theme layout. It's going to look as it should do. And then I use that to add that to my settings in my theme to match this. And then ultimately I remove all of the CSS from here because that's probably not the best place for the CSS. The problem I had with this until this plugin came is that I would often want to do more on my pages. I may want some rollover effects on my images. I may want some styled bullet points on a bullet point list. I may, I don't know, want a form to be styled, gravity forms. I want to carry all the CSS with that. So it gets more complex on what's going in this if we're keeping all of the styling. So that's why I wanted these individual sections. But of course what I realized combining this, being able to bring forward templates, is what I ended up building along with that was effectively my own little module library. Now I've only just started on this, but I could then drag these in. Of course it's not going to be like a normal module. I'm not going to have little sliders or options for everything. But something that I've kind of realized recently, particularly with working with my wife, is that CSS is fairly easy to understand if it's set in the right context, and this always will be. So she's had no trouble with not knowing CSS before, of being able to alter the page templates and also some of our rows that I've set up. She's just been able to alter this without really learning any CSS at all. So it's it kind of ties in with my view that sometimes when you get the third-party modules, which is another approach for me, although I'd be tied in with that module, but sometimes that they're a little bit more complex than they need. There's more heavyweight options to get to the CSS to be able to change things. So it's definitely changed a lot of things. Also, it's allowed me to do some other things. So I don't think there's ever going to be a third-party add-on that's going to incorporate all of the things that we're possibly going to need as trends change over time. So I mean, some time back I did a video because I wanted to have a particular effect for, let me just go into this, for a team gallery, and I've got it over here. So I wanted something like this. There was nothing like this in third parties, but I was able to create this with a bit of JavaScript and CSS. Now, of course, I can just save it as a row, or I could have saved this one perhaps as a column, and I can just drag it in and then restyle it. So that's really where I'm up to. I have done a blog post article, but I'll leave this for you to read, why I think it might be able to help with a larger problem. What I see are the problems of more modules. Of course, most of us at some point would really like some extra modules. We just don't, many of us just don't want the weight that goes with it. So, and also modules are something that have either got to be created by the team themselves and be there for everybody, or we are selecting what somebody else has given us, which means we're dependent on somebody else's platform as well. I think with something like this, it allows people like me, which is what I hope to do, to share my work, and for someone else to be able to take or leave what they don't like and alter it very easily, which I think is not something you can so easily do with plugins. So I just think it opens up potentially a lot of opportunities for community sharing. Anyway, that's something I intend to do in the future. So if you're interested in how I'm kind of formatting this, because I'm still working out exactly how I'm going to format these modules that I'm making so they make sense for the future, then please subscribe to the channel so I'll show what I'm doing as I work along this. If you're interested in me sharing with you anything that I've done, then maybe you want to give me your email address, and perhaps the best way I can think of for the moment is to comment on this blog post, which I'll link to below the video, and then I'll have your email for the future. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to this video. I hope you found it useful, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope to talk to you again in a future video. Okay, bye-bye.